Welcome back to this edition of Grizzlies Daily. I'm your host Malik, and we got some news to talk about. Not too much, but definitely wanted to bring it to you all, especially since I missed yesterday, but we had some things going on, so that's why I wasn't really able to upload. But it did allow us time to really find out some more news and bring it to you all because of what's going on. And obviously, it's a quiet point in the off season, so finding things to talk to you guys about is kind of difficult, but I'm definitely willing to find it, and I was able to find some things for y'all. So, in case you didn't know, the Grizzlies actually made a coaching hire to the staff, a new addition. His name is Darnell Lazar. I want to say that's how you pronounce it, Darnell Lazar. And basically, he used to work as a video coordinator for the Grizzlies in 2018 and 2019, and they're hiring him as an assistant coach. He previously worked as an assistant with the New Orleans Pelicans last season and worked with big men helping develop them. Obviously, V. Missy, he was one of the main big men that developed for the Pelicans last year. So, yeah, absolutely. Just shout out to the coach. Shout out to the franchise for really emphasizing, help on the front court because this is essentially a pretty good hire, especially if you're trying to develop guys like Zach Edey and have him become more mobile. Because it's one thing that I could say about V. Missy. When I saw him play on the Pelicans, he was very mobile. He knew where to be at on the court at all times, especially on defense. Now, I say just spot wise because there was times that he did get beat on defense, but he was a rookie, so you kind of just had to let it play out and hope he developed better, and which he did. He was honestly at one point he was a good candidate for Rookie of the Year, so pretty good development on their part right there. Now with this in mind, I kind of see the direction that they're really going for, and it really makes me think, what will the system with Tuama Cicelo and coaching staff really look like? And it's simple as this. I think the system is going to become something that becomes essentially, I think the Grizzlies are going to go more slower pace now. I know I kind of emphasize fast paced offense, but I think they're going to move in a slower direction, really just to develop guys like Edey more. And just simply get one room. Excuse me, it is hot outside, so I'm a little drained from the sun. But basically, I really think the system will become a lot slower, and you got guys like Edey and potentially Jaren, kind of really finding their space in the offense and really just slowing things down because I do think as great as a fast-paced offense is for the Grizzlies, it is very reckless, and I think we kind of saw that, and the team kind of tried to make it work, and it just overall didn't work. And I've said on the record that I think the Grizzlies should do a better job of trying to find the right shot rather than force a shot up because forcing the shot is actually what led to majority of the turnovers for the Grizzlies last year, which is why they ranked as a team that was very high in turnovers, and it came to play come time for the playoffs and just overall in the regular season, especially later down the line. We're looking at games like against the Nuggets, like right before the end of the year, where the Grizzlies were up by, I want to say 7, 8 points, and then in the last 5 minutes they only scored 1 point. Majority of that was because of turnovers, and really just majority of the games that the Grizzlies let go or made close for no reason, it was strictly because of turnovers. Whether it was John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, just anybody. Turnovers played a major factor. Honestly, it played a factor in how many rookies younger guys played because let's be honest, a few turnovers was a deciding factor in really Vince Williams being out of rotation later in the year. Same with Gigi Jackson. I mean, we were just looking at guys like that. They just could not hold on to the ball, and overall, they ended up playing a big factor in how many minutes they played. So I don't blame the coaching staff for doing it, but at the same time, try to find a new system. Clearly, this one, it used to work in 2021, 22, but now we're living in a different time where this is a different team and kind of got to find a new identity. And I think that's all about this year, which is why they called it a retool year, just to simply find the identity of the offense, the identity of the team at that. So I got some confidence in how the team is, the direction they're moving in. So we really just got to look at how do they want to do things, and how are they going to go about it, and how well will it work with the players. And that's what training camp and preseason is for, and obviously we'll see that come time for the regular season. Now, something that I saw that really, really, really made headlines for the Grizzlies was an article by ESPN. And this article essentially, basically, I believe it was their top rebuilding teams, if I'm not mistaken. So, genuinely, they basically said NBA rebuild rankings, and for some reason, the Grizzlies is on this list, and it's wild to me because it's been on record multiple times that the Grizzlies are not rebuilding, and I don't know why ESPN they keep pushing the narrative that the Grizzlies are rebuilding. They're not rebuilding. They are still a playoff team. So basically, it says how close are 14 teams to a title, and the Grizzlies were on this list, but one team that was not on the list that really caught everybody's attention was the Sacramento Kings, which is funny because the Kings didn't make the playoffs last year. The Grizzlies did. So it's just like, I don't know why ESPN keeps pushing this narrative of the Grizzlies are essentially not a good team anymore, and that's really what they've been doing whether it comes to guys like Tim McMahon, Brian Windhorst, just anybody in general. The ESPN has a narrative that the Grizzlies are not as good as the team as they used to be, which, hey, look, two things could be true, but to say they are rebuilding is insane. And I think it's really just because of this. It's really because of the 2023-2024 season where the Grizzlies went 27-55, but people don't understand that year just was not meant to be for the Grizzlies. I mean, you start the year off 6-19. Ja Morant suspended for 25 games. He comes back. You're in winning ways. You go 6-3. It's looking like, hey, the Grizzlies might have a chance to at least make a play-in spot after all. And then he gets hurt, and everybody else gets hurt. And you just have a record number of starting lineups. You can't do anything about that. So the fact that we have a credible source in ESPN saying that the Grizzlies are rebuilding, it's just it's insane to me. And it's also just like, how could you look at an offseason like the Memphis Grizzlies, the one that they had, and say that? I mean, clearly they're getting better. So if a team that makes the playoffs gets better, how can they be real? How can they be rebuilding? So that's something that it really just kind of caught me off guard, and I really just didn't pay attention to it. I've honestly learned to not really pay attention to the national media and how they portray the Grizzlies. That is why, and this is not a shameless plug or anything. This is why I say watch your local media, because they know the team that you love more than anybody. Unless you are a big market like the Lakers, the Warriors, the Bulls, something like that, you're not going to know much about your favorite team if they're in a small market. So this is your sign. Listen to the small markets. Pay attention to your local media. We know what we're talking about. The national media, 9 out of 10, doesn't care less about the Grizzlies unless that man wearing number 12 or that man now wearing number 8 ends up leaving. That is the only thing they care about, and it's always been like that with small markets. I don't know why. Now, the last little thing, it's not really anything regarding the team itself, but more so with Zach Edey. Basically, it has come out that Zach Edey's essentially reached a plea deal in his reckless driving case that would happen last month, where he was going, I believe it was 101 miles per hour in the 55 zone in Indiana. So basically, right here, we'll just get through this quickly. Basically, he agreed to pay $639.50, and in exchange, officials dropped the misdemeanor reckless driving charge he had been facing. Yeah, pretty simple right there. So, yeah, just something just to kind of get it out the way. Yeah, good thing is dropped to a misdemeanor, meaning that it won't go any further. Won't really go any further in court. It's behind us. Only thing I can say about that is just drive slower. Drive slower, drive the speed limit. Don't do anything reckless. Don't do reckless driving, because the last thing the Grizzlies need is Zach Edey, or really any player for that matter, getting arrested or getting a stupid charge just for dumb reasons. We went through it before, and we really don't want to go through it again. But that's really all I got for today. Nothing much happening except for that ESPN ranking and the coach and hire. Yeah, so that's really all I got for today right now. Not too much going on. So really, like I said, just looking forward to next season. I really want to know what your thoughts on the coaching hire and the new system that the Grizzlies are essentially trending towards. I'm not going to say it's full confirmation, but they're trending towards it. And let me know what you think about the ESPN ranking, because I really love to hear y'all thoughts on that. Anytime the national media portrays the Grizzlies in a crazy way or a negative light, I'm very interested to see what other people's thoughts are. But if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you get the next upload notification when we post on YouTube right here. And as for me, this is Grizzlies Daily. My name is Melek, and I'll be signing off.